we're looking at Dylan Raiola, who's a 5-star quarterback, who's playing like a 5-star, who probably is going to get drafted first round 2027 because he's that good and he's that gifted. Takes great care of the football, except for that part in overtime where he's spitting up on himself because he ain't been in that moment, and he's missing wide open Isaiah Nair for a TD that probably wins them the football game in regulation. However, the comparisons to Patrick Mahomes have more to do with appearance than they do in play and or play style. We know this. But then, on Sunday, Dayton Raiola committed to the 2026 class at Nebraska. Dayton Raiola is a 3-star prospect and a left-handed quarterback who starts at Buford. Pretty damn good football player. Is he his brother? No. But I don't think that Dominic Raiola was a 5-star coming out. We didn't have rankings, but you get my point there. He is really, really talented. However, it led me to ask the question, how many Raiolas are coming through Nebraska? So some of y'all will probably get this reference, but if you watch a lot of high school football and you grow up around high school football, you just used to seeing a certain family last name just play tailback or a linebacker or a quarterback, and it ain't always the head coach, right? Sometimes it is. Sometimes the head coach, he has a kid who has a kid who has a kid. But what I'm talking about is, like, we got this place called Claremore, Oklahoma. If you haven't been, you should visit. It's a nice place. I enjoy it. Really great rodeo. Hell, I was out there bulldogging in high school. Anyway, we were playing against the Claremore Zebras. Yes, that is the mascot. And they had Eli Kennard. And I remember going, wait a second. Just how many damn Kennards are there? Because I feel like I've been playing against Kennards and everybody else been playing against Kennards since we've been playing football. It's like, yeah, there's something to that. There's something to that. Everybody got one of those programs that, well, that dude came out the womb. He's going to be starting tailback at Claremore by the time he gets here because that's just what they do. Well, apparently what Raiolas do is find their way to Nebraska because before Dylan and certainly before Dayton, you got Dominic Raiola, who is the best known Raiola, played center at Nebraska. He's a Hall of Famer. They got him up there in the ring. He is known among college football fans and Nebraska fans. Then you got Donovan Raiola, who is brother to Dominic Raiola and coaches the offensive line at Nebraska. Then you got, can't believe we're getting down this road, man, but we are. Then you got his sister Taylor, who sister to Dayton and Dylan, niece to Donovan, and daughter to Dominic, who played volleyball at Texas Christian, but is a graduate manager in the recruiting department at Nebraska. All of this to say none of them are going to help Matt Rhule make in-game decisions, which is what I'm really going to be interested in seeing when they play Purdue this weekend. Look, I know that there's going to be a lot of talk about what the Raiolas are or are not doing because that is a royal family, and as far as royal families are concerned in the University of Nebraska, and damn well they should be, okay? Especially if Dylan Raiola becomes that guy that brings them back to prominence, and by prominence, I mean winning at a high level. Like, I think they're going to go bowling for the first time since 2016. But I also wonder if Matt Rhule was wrong when he said, there's no curse at Nebraska, because I'm going, that looked great for three games. I'm talking about you make college football a playoff, and then you play against a good Illinois team that's basically a mirror image of yourselves. And I watched him argue for a late hit penalty that he probably should have never been arguing for, use his challenge on a play that we all knew from watching it on the Jumbotron or on the television was not going to win, and generally losing a game that we all thought he should win and should be a signature win for Nebraska. So you got Purdue, who has Ryan Walters, who helped build that Illinois defense a couple of years ago that was great and runs the same damn scheme. So if Dylan Raiola can't throw it and you can't run it, you got a problem. Because when Nebraska has been able to win this season, remember they only lost once, They run the ball for 142 yards or more. They struggled to run the football against Illinois because that front seven was so good, particularly in the interior. As much as we're going to be talking about the Raiolas and what they're doing, I want to see if Nebraska can run the football. If you can't run the football, you're not going to beat many teams. You might beat Purdue because they're not good. But we're already looking toward to what are you going to do against Ohio State? And if Ohio State folds you in half, how are you going to play the rest of the season? Because remember, that's game 8. That's going to have a lot to do with how you finish. Do I think they got a chance to be bowl eligible before then? Yeah, I do. I think they will. I think they can be. I want to talk about Trevor of Arabia before we talk with Coach Gundy, try to figure that out here on the fly. But Colorado's Trevor of Arabia, because this story is interesting, also kind of wild, because it's Colorado, and most things around Colorado are new and exciting. While we're talking about Travis Hunter, who should be awarded the Heisman Memorial Trophy this year, because he is not just elite, he is the toughest man in football, a sport defined by tough men. Before I get to Trevor, let me reinforce this right quick. Travis Hunter has played 532 snaps in 4 games. Travis Hunter is playing 100 snaps or more every game. Travis Hunter has 37 catches, 472 yards. That is good enough top 10 in every category across FBS, right? He's top 2 or 3 in Power 4 in catches and yards. And oh yeah, he is such an elite corner that knowing damn well that he has to be tired going both ways. You're not testing him. You're not throwing at him. Why? Because they're that afraid of him. So if you are that afraid to go at a guy that you know just got done running wind sprints at wide receiver, what else do we need to talk about here? I don't give a damn if Colorado doesn't win another game. That's the best player in college football. Period. Give him the damn trophy. We've never seen anybody do this. You realize that with 28 receiving yards and 1 interception, he becomes the first player to have back-to-back seasons with 500 yards receiving and multiple interceptions, and he can become the first 1,000-yard receiver, let alone 100 catches, with a pick in the sport, with multiple picks in the sport. Like that's ridiculous what he's been able to do. It's also kind of ridiculous that Trevor Riley decided to go do what Trevor Riley did. This is wild, okay? Like, some of y'all probably heard about this, but I've just waiting on kind of some of the facts to be drawn out before we talk about it. The lead in a story I read in The Athletic by my buddy David Ubben, it goes like this. A former member of the Colorado football staff took a trip without the team's knowledge to Saudi Arabia in December in hopes of striking a $10 million deal between the country's tourism and collective that raises name, image, and likeness funds for, the university athletics. So he thought he was going to do some work for the NIL collective by hitting up the kingdom going, so y'all got deep pockets, we heard. Documents obtained through open records requests from the Athletic, as well as interviews with the staff for Trevor Riley and statements from the school and its collective, showed that Riley financed a trip to the Middle East in December by himself before eventually resigning in frustration August 1st from his role as special teams analyst for Coach Deion Sanders. This is the part where I say, look, like directions to the honey hole, or where your family's money actually comes from, this ain't supposed to come out to the public. This is Diddy and freak-offs. This is not what you're supposed to be talking about. You're not supposed to be trying to offer up receipts on this sort of thing. But I mean, I guess if you're Trevor Riley, that's what you do. I just didn't see a win for him here. Like I'm like, okay, so you went and operated on your own, AWOL, trying to do a job that's not yours. For what? For who? Make me understand. And bottom line seems to be he thought it was a good idea. And he thought his efforts would be rewarded for his good idea and his gosh darn initiative. Let me tell you, anytime you want to drag people through the ringer on some stuff that they not all the way clear on, they have every right to separate from you. And you trying to be like, look what I was trying to do for you that's not no defense, dog. Like that sounds like you were not listening when people are talking. And that's part of doing business. You got to be asking direct questions and getting direct answers, because you are drawing a line from people that have a public investment fund that is very well funded and who have put lots of money into interesting places, from Uber to Live Golf, right? We know this. These things are known. But to think that just because people got money that they going to give you some, and that if they don't give you some, you're going to be able to collect back on whatever time and money you spent, that's just ridiculous. That's not how anybody works. Communist or capitalist, that's not how we work. We all come together on a thought and a process, and we go through that thought and that process so that everybody feels good about it. The best negotiations where everybody feels like they had a compromise going on. Felt like this dude thought that he could come up on the come up when your job is to be the special teams analyst. Be a special teams analyst, not the go-between for the university or its collective. And I'm sure that the collective has already been beaten up on just what exactly it is that they are doing or not doing. So they're getting to be litigious, and I would be too if I were them. That story to me was buck wild. Just buck wild.